Welcome to everybody. This is the 6th episode of Obiettivo Cina Talk, the podcast and video between me and Daisy Xu, my colleague in Shanghai, speaking about strategies, tips, suggestions for companies that want to enter or develop their activities in China. In this episode, we will start from what we have discussed in the last one, the 5th episode, where we spoke about how to choose the right market in China, the right province to start doing business. So if you haven't seen or listened to it, go to the 5th episode of the podcast. Today we will make a step towards China. So we will speak about the different ways a company, and especially a small, medium enterprises, can enter in China market. Usually there is a path that starts from export, simply exporting the product to China. A second step could be to open a representative office, and this is the subject of today's speech, followed by sometimes opening a joint venture to join with the local companies. And then last step, when a company is seriously interested to strategically grow in China, is to make his own presence, the WOFI, wholly owned foreign enterprise. Speaking about the representative office, I have some questions for my colleague, Daisy Xu, that is joining us as usually. And I would like to ask her to speak with us. What is a representative office and how does it work? How a company could benefit from having a representative office in China. So Daisy, welcome, first of all, and give this kind of information to our listeners.
Okay, thank you. And hello, everyone again. So talking about the representative office, actually, I think there isn't necessarily a fixed path for a company to enter China. Representative office is one of the many types of companies that you can register when you want to, most importantly, to have a direct presence in China. I think representative office comparing with so-called an independent company are not much different, but in some particular aspects, they are quite limited in terms of the legal side, the taxation and the recruitment, and even the application requirement. They are different. So for a representative office, it is not regarded as an independent legal entity, and this needs to be clear. So for when you make a contract or when you want to do invoice, you are quite limited. Then anyway, to have a direct presence through any any type of company here, the benefits, I think, first is to provide relatively a real picture for the market, for the company abroad, so that about your product, your support, your policies can be more focused and tailored for this market. And second, you will be able to be directly involved in the market, close to your clients. This is very important to grant a certain level of trust from your customer when they decide to choose your brand or an alternative. Then third, I think having an organization direct on the market, it allows you to make decisions more efficient. For example, you could realize that you need more than just an office, but also a warehouse to provide a stock and a quick delivery for your customer. Or actually, you do not need just an office, but a training center well equipped to provide a better service support for your customers. Or the opposite, maybe you have already your training center in your office, but actually you realize that you can do your training in a different way through your customer facility or through some collaboration with a local entity, so that you can cut some cost for your own office. So you have more flexibility to make decisions after you collect your own insights about this market.
Yeah, so very clear explanation. And so we see from many of our customers that choosing a representative office is an effective way of knowing better the market, having somebody there directly present.
Yeah, the first step.
First step that can know the market, make some market analysis, promote the company, and so is very important to acquire knowledge and experience with Chinese market, even if it's not possible with a representative office to make commercial activities. They cannot make invoice or they cannot sell directly to the customer. Which are the problem of having a representative office, or at least especially during this pandemic time, which kind of difficulties have you seen regarding the representative office in China?
I think it is more about the effectiveness of the support. It might be discounted. On one hand, from the perspective of the headquarter, when we are talking about new business development, because when you set up a kind of office here, you are expecting to develop new business or expand the current business. It required more coordination work with the headquarter, such as choosing the right product mix, fixing the right pricing policy, and also arrange a timely delivery. For example, for companies who export products to China through the office to sell on the market, now the delivery is quite bad in general. Because of the pandemic, many projects cannot be moved forward because of the delay or the very expensive shipment. And in this way, after a while, the representative office became a kind of a heavy cost for the company. And the headquarters, somehow they need to align or adjust their expectation accordingly. Then from the perspective of the representative office on the local market, I think it is more about the people. More difficult is to work together with your own people. And it looks like that they are totally left alone here. Then if the communication cannot be managed in a proper way, you might lose good people here, or you might have very little access or information about how your people here are managing the market, managing your customers. So the risk I see here is mainly about the effectiveness of the two parties.
Yeah, actually, as far as regard people to be appointed in the representative office, very often I see, or quite often I see, that companies, especially small, medium companies, choose people that are not really fit. I mean, young people that are available to transfer to China, but they don't have many experience in the business and in China especially, or they are looking for a kind of, how can I say, secretary, just to manage the ordinary job and the paperwork. And this clearly is creating also the problem, is one of the reasons of the problem you are mentioning. So from this point of view, Daisy, what can you suggest to companies regarding finding and enabling people in the representative office to be more effective?
Yeah, actually, these are the two topics we are always doing and reminding our clients all the time about how to identify the talent and how to develop their capabilities in order to fit and grow in the company. Actually, I think I just have two suggestions. One is to be open-minded. Do not limit your choices just in the same industry that you're operating. Because many companies, when they want to choose a candidate for their office, they prefer the people coming from the same industry or with the same industrial experience, or in the world coming from competitors. I personally do not suggest this way, because picking people from competitors, you may save some time for introducing the market dynamics, but you are in the long run limited to grow because you are just doing what your competitor was doing and you already knew it. So then second suggestion is the empowerment. People need empowerment to implement their ideas. Sometimes some companies, when they recruit a manager to manage their business in a new market, they hope this manager to be independent, to be able to develop the business. But actually, they do not really empower him to do that. They say one thing, but they did in a different way. They probably finally just ask the people to follow the same routine, the same framework, or they have little tolerance when people work in a different way. So my suggestion are these two: to be open-minded, and also to be really empower your people you finally choose.
Speaking about operational things, opening a representative office is quite a low cost, is not so expensive and is quite easy. But could you give us some more precise idea, or an idea how much it could cost, which are the procedures? Also, if there are some help that the companies can have in China from local authorities or local agencies.
In general, I think open a company here is relatively easy and fast, because China government encourages startups and especially foreign investment. And most local government, they are very well organized and efficient, and the procedures are quite standard. Maybe many years ago, when you register a company, you need to go to many different places. You can either go to business bureau, tax bureau, this, that, to complete a whole process. But now, in general, you can do everything through online and offline, a kind of a one-stop service. So register kind of company is, the procedure is quite standard. The more complicated or time-consuming is the preparation to collect all the documents in the very beginning. So the first step is to collect all the information, like you need to decide the company name, who will be your legal person, and also your management name list, your registered capital, shareholder information, your business scope, this kind of general information. And step number two is kind of, you need to submit all those documents through online government website to do the pre-verification. And after you got the approval, you will be moved to the third step, which to submit offline all the documents related with the application, the authorization, your company, like company articles, the legal information, those kind of things. So number four is about you will be able to collect your company stamp. Stamp is very important here because we do not recognize much the signature, but mostly we handle by the company stamps. Then step number 5 is the tax registration. Then after all those 5 steps, you will be allowed to open a bank account where you sign different contracts about bank transactions with your headquarters, with your tax bureau, and even with social welfare, those kind of information. Of course, those standard procedure also refer to standard business. If your business are more particular, for example, related with pharmaceutical or medical devices, those are it's another type of case to be managed because they will involve more certifications, permissions, and of course, the procedure and the cost are different. So in general, for a standard service for what I mentioned above, you can consider about 10,000 RMB or more, depending on the specific business scope. And yeah, that is the rough idea about the procedure and the cost.
Okay, and there are some facilitation, some help that companies can have to find, for example, the location.
Finding the facility, usually for a representative office, you can consider like the traditional office area, or now there are you have more alternatives. For example, the incubators. Incubators can be a good option, in my opinion, because they are usually government background, and many registration procedures and costs are included. And when you sign kind of a leasing contract there, and some incubator, they even provide you funding sources or venture capital information to help your business grow in the local market here. And of course, if you need more than just the kind of office, there are also different industrial parks related with your particular industry. Like in last episodes, we mentioned that different geographic area, they have their own characteristics on the particular industries. For industrial park is similar. Some industrial park, for example, is more related with the supply chain of AI or robots, for example. Some are related with the agricultural machinery. Some are related with plastics, for example.
Okay, Daisy, I think you have given a lot of information to our listeners. I hope that I'm sure they are very interesting. Clearly, if somebody wants to go deeper in this kind of subject, opening a representative office, we are available to answer to the questions. Our email are at the end of the video or in the notes of the podcast, so you can contact us when you want. So I think we can conclude here this episode and giving the appointment to our listener for the next one. In the next episode, we will speak about something that in some way is a cross and delight of many companies in China, that is the joint venture. So this way of approaching and establishing a companies in Chinese market has been very used, especially in the past. So we will see which is the situation now, and as usually, we will try to give some suggestions to companies that could be interested in this kind of subject. So I thank you, Daisy, for your participation. Thank you to all our listeners, and See you for the next episode.
See you. Bye-bye.